Good morning, it's Tammy Louise with LDRS Creative. Welcome to day 2 of the LDRS Creative and Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L week-long blog hop. This video was made last week and I do have a post on my blog that you can refer to. I want to explain what I did. I'm using dies today to cut material and make a card out of them. The base of the cards are made with a Recollections collection with really pretty filigree pattern. The card did have to get taken apart in the front for me to adhere the material to the card on the back. Then I used the scrapbook adhesive paper, double-sided, with some craft paper in order to die cut the Fluttered by Tulip die from LDRS Creative. And here you can see I'm taking that off now so that I can apply the material directly to the cardstock and then run the die facing the blades facing down on the material through my Cuttlebug. I did have to add a little bit of extra craft stock running through because my A and B and also my C boards for the Cuttlebug are a little bit worn out. I use it a lot. I'm big on my dies. But I ran this through 2 or 3 times, and when it came out, it did a beautiful job cutting all the way through the material. This is a silk material, so it did have a little bit of stray strings after taking the die cut out of the material, so I did clean it up a little bit with scissors, but it wasn't bad at all. The next thing that I'm going to do is show you how I gave a little bit of texture to the card fronts by running it through the Cuttlebug again with the Gilded Doily embossing folder, which is a collection that I designed for LDRS Creative. It just gives that little bit more of a punch, a little bit more texture to the card. It's going to be pretty much a clean and simple card. I did a little bit of sewing, and I'm going to speed that portion up because this is more about the die work than the sewing. The mesh that I sewed together was approximately 9 inches long by 4 inches, 3.5 to 4 inches wide. I just did an in and out with the needle in order to gather the material at the top, because what I want to do, this is Fluttered Tulip Bodice, is going to be decorated with this mesh skirt, and all of these are color coordinated. Of course, I picked my materials before I started the project, and I did 2 cards the same way, using the same 2 pieces of material, but just exactly opposite. So I cut the Fluttered Tulip Bodice out of both the materials, as well as backing the card up with both materials. I used my hot glue gun to set where the mesh was gathered. It needed to be set so that it was wide enough to go all the way across the Fluttered Tulip Bodice waist area and flip around the back so that I could glue it so that it looked more finished. I'm going to pinch it together just a little bit, and then pretty soon I'm going to snip the thread away from the skirt. Put a little bit more hot glue to make sure that that thread stays down and in place. Kind of crush the waist area down so that it holds the pleats. I want to make sure that my skirt is very well pleated. I'm going to grab that and glue it directly onto the waistline of the bodice. And then in a second you'll see me flip it over, and I wanted to leave a little bit on each side so that I could pull it around to the back of the die cut. And I glued it down as well. The materials that I used from Scrapbook Adhesives were extremely helpful in the process of making this project. I used Easy Dot permanent refillable dispensers, the adhesive sheets. I used even the glue dots, which were fabulous to decorate and hide the waistline area. I actually just pulled 4 or 5 of the dots out of the box, and they come on a little plastic sheet so that you don't have to touch the dots at all. All you do is push them into place, pull the plastic sheet off, and it was perfect for adhering glitter to the waistline. It made a beautiful little bodice waistline. Here's where I'm doing it now. It's so easy too because it pulls out of one side of the box, so you don't have to struggle with an open, round, rolled up box of adhesive glue dots. Worked really well. There we go. I'm on number 2 now. The project has loads of texture. As you can see, it was recreated with the gilded embossing folder from LDRS Creative. The die cut is the Fluttered Tulip Bodice, and the sentiment die is with the gilded label die set, and the stamps are from LDRS Creative, and it's called Best Friends Collection. I trimmed to the size that I wanted on the skirt after I got it all adhered and glittered. I'm grabbing a little bit of twine and just knotting it over to one side so that the card remains symmetrical. If you have your most elaborate eye focal point over to the right, then you're going to need something to level that card off over to the left. Here's the finished card for the gold in the background with the bodice having the decorated, and here's the decorated background with the gold bodice material on the front. I certainly hope you enjoyed the project. I had a great time with the adhesive company working with Scrapbook Adhesives and LDRS Creative. And if you have any questions regarding the products, you can visit my blog below. Have a great day. We hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. For information on these and more products available at the LDRS Creative Store, visit us on Facebook and our website at www.ldrscreative.com.